Because it's the kids, like
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
13 of them all
Yeah.
together every,
And they go
oh, that's
together.
great, yeah. And they go together and they're like all smiles and they catch up and,
That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, it's pretty cool. There's Anna.
Oh, you did
Hey.
it. Nice job. I was stressed.
How's it going?
Oh, like, what's going on?
It's a day for the ruffles, huh?
Good.
I was plugging in.
It's like the hidden tank top.
That's right. That's right.
The tank top people can't tell is a tank top. Well,
It's off tonight. No work tonight, huh? Just the weekends, I hear.
Oh God, this week I'm so bad too. Oh my God.
And you're here, not even virtual.
All right. I looked at our meeting minutes.
That's somebody.
Is that you, Alina?
Are you muted? It sounds like you.
Is your sound-
She smiled the whole time. Good.
I mean, I watched it. I didn't even say anything. I didn't do anything.
I know, and
I
it went
didn't
away.
touch it, and
Exactly.
it went away.
Okay, moving on.
Sounds on.
Okay, we'll call the meeting, you're recording. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:08. Okay. Are there, and this is a meeting of the regular Hartland School Board on the first Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Nope. Good, okay, I'm good. Hannah, you wanna minutes too, or?
Oh, you have it printed. You're amazing. Thank you.
No, I'm not amazing.
Somebody
Christine's
did.
amazing.
Christine, thank you. Just to put up on
Look at
this
that.
massive screen I have here.
Okay, not hearing anything, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from July 31st, 23.
So moved.
Okay, Beth
A
moves,
second.
Hannah seconds. Okay, and Colleen, you were missing for that
I'll
meeting, right?
abstain,
Yeah,
yes.
okay, I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you. Sometimes I don't remember.
Yeah, I know. Heather was there though, and I can't remember. It's in the minutes. I don't remember reading it.
Heather was here, yeah.
I'm delaying a little bit too, waiting for more people to vote since Colleen's gonna
Since I
abstain.
abstained.
Yes. But maybe,
Doesn't that count as quorum or no?
yeah, it does. I mean,
Three,
three
yeah.
counts. I'm just delaying, but I guess we'll just keep going. Okay, were there any?
Heather was there, it says in the minutes.
What?
Heather was there.
Okay. Were there any problems or challenges to them?
Nope.
Nope. I really like the minute taker.
Leanna.
Leanna, she's
great.
doing a great job, yeah. Okay, so, we'll do, there she is. Okay, we're voting on the minutes. Did you have any changes or did?
Nope.
Okay, okay. We're all here, so we don't have to do a roll call. All those in favor of approving the minutes of July 31st, 23, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And abstentions?
Aye.
Okay, so we have 4 ayes,
It's okay, I wanna be told.
no nays, and 1 abstention. Okay. Public participation or announcements? Any?
I would just love to give a shout out to the staff and the students for having a fantastic first week last week and a great day back today. Everyone
Woohoo.
is, even through the heat, everyone is having fun, working hard, and being wonderful.
Yay!
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Also, from a parent of a 4th grader and a 1st grader, holy mackerel, my children are so happy. They're so happy.
I love
They're so
that.
happy. They're so happy. It's so great. They come home talking about school and how much fun and everything that was great about it, and I loved every minute of it.
That's awesome. Yay!
Honeymoon period, right?
First couple weeks.
It's all good.
That's okay.
It'll be the
This
whole
is
year.
way it
We're
is.
gonna have a full. It's
That's
fun.
right.
We're
It's gonna be a
going
great
for it.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
There are some lives without honeymoon periods, so we'll enjoy them once
Yeah.
that we get them.
Exactly.
I will just say that we have jam back.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
They took a little break, now they're back.
Awesome. Okay, any other public participation or announcements? Okay, so we'll move on to student presentation of learning.
Which, because it's only been 4 days of school, we don't have this month.
Okay, okay.
But I do think that is something we could easily incorporate into the beginning of October.
Okay, so we'll move that to October.
Perfect.
So disappointing.
I know.
I know. Okay, so we're on the administrative report.
All right.
And are most of the items for discussion in the administrative report? I haven't read it yet.
Some of them are.
Okay.
Student
Some of them
presentation?
are, not every single one. The SU nurse is not in there.
Okay.
Tell me about the SU nurse.
That would be about Katie Burke.
Sorry, Heather, I know you're still bitter.
So bitter.
She's
So bitter.
awesome,
You
by the
stole-
way.
You stole my friend.
Okay.
Right.
I'll check them off as we go through.
Okay.
And then
That's fine.
So start with some highlights, just some good fun being had by all. Hopefully for those that are parents and anyone who's watching this after the fact. So we're trying this year to use Class Dojo as a communication tool where we're just trying to put as many photos as we possibly can on there of just the kids and staff being the wonderful human beings that they are and just having fun. So that's the purpose of Class Dojo, is really just to show off all the great things. So if you're a family member who's watching and you need the link to access, shoot me an email because we can make sure that you get on. I think it's been fairly well received. I will say I did put in the Wildcat Weekly last Friday. I did get some feedback that for some families it was prompting them to pay.
Yeah.
And I-
deceptive. It's
I-
that whole thing of like, it's like you can
Huh.
skip
And
it,
you-
but like the X is like way
Down in the
here,
corner, which
like, and it's
unfortunately,
like,
yeah, we can't do anything about, so that's why I tried to put in the Wildcat Weekly, like, we're not gonna ask you to pay for anything.
Yeah.
Anything we put on there is in the free
Mhm.
portion of it, so
Yeah.
hopefully all works out okay.
Yeah.
And our student rep on the board, welcome to West, Lee Ogilvy. I last week met with her to review the roles, responsibilities, so she understood what she can do when she's here. You know, the certain aspects of the role that she is not, as a student rep, not able to participate in. She is really excited. There's also, we met as a whole middle school at the end of last week, so we reviewed, there's a couple big changes to our handbook, especially when it comes to cell phones, and we talked about that with students as well as being party to class, 2 big shifts within our handbook. So we sat with all the middle school students, and West at that time was like, and just so that you all know, I'm the rep for the school board, so if you have anything, let me know. And knowing West, she will definitely bring it, which
Yeah.
is exactly what we want.
Yeah, awesome.
So welcome, welcome, welcome to her. And a building committee update. So I did reach out to Black River Designs towards the end of the summer and tried to understand what first steps would look like now that that money, after July 1st. They suggested first forming a building committee with a variety of stakeholders. I emailed Nikki and Christine the thoughts and ideas that he had. I'm blanking on his name. The person from Black River Design, unless it might be Chris, but I could be wrong. Keith, that's what it is. Thank you, Keith from Black River Designs. To have administration, the superintendent, a board rep of sorts. It could be Nikki, it could be another board member. A couple teacher reps, so I did reach out to Tina Skihan behind us as well as Betsy McClure. I think the two of them with their really long-standing history in the school community would be really positive aspects of the committee. We are still looking for community stakeholders.
I got a couple leads on a few.
Okay.
I'm trying to get some grandfathers of some children who go here who are builders or
Oh,
retired builders.
that
nice.
would be
That'd be
great.
good.
So I'm gonna,
That's kind of what
See
we
what I can
had way back, like 10 years ago. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. 10 years ago, we had some. Yeah.
The school board husbands already feel like they're making their
Monthly,
their
I know,
monthly contribution.
exactly.
You just stepped down from the conservation commission. I'm like,
No,
I
you're
got a hole now.
So we're still
Yeah.
waiting. We haven't set some meeting times yet because I would really love to get some community members
yeah.
prior to having that first meeting. But Keith from Black River Designs will be there and he'll facilitate whatever that process is moving forward.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now.
And just as a discussion point between the board, I, being a civil engineer, feel like I'm the right person.
you're in it.
But
Good.
we all know that
Check.
I'm
Check.
overcommitted, but I also
Okay.
feel like if there's one thing that I need to not be overcommitted for, that's probably it. So, if you guys are all good with that, I'll
Yes.
just stick with it.
That feels very far outside my scope of practice.
Nobody's fighting you for that one.
I know. I'm like, this one of all of us would probably take the least amount of work for me, because it's just what I
Just
do.
let me look at the cafeteria.
Okay, yes, I will involve you in the cafeteria.
And the woods planning.
Yes.
Oh, the woods.
Yes.
Like
We
that.
call it the dining hall now. The
Dining.
We're not
The
calling
supper
it.
club.
Not the cafeteriatorium.
Multi-purpose room. Next is the 5-year plan. We had talked a little bit about that at our, it was in July, but it was the August meeting. So I checked in with Larry. So Larry and Jim are going to be working on those 2 bullet points, preventative maintenance and capital planning. And Larry thought the best way to do that is he will begin working on it, which he said would take a couple months. That at the same time, the work that Black River Design is going to do is going to fold into it. So what you'll likely end up seeing is one thing that is somewhat together.
Okay.
I think Larry's trying to figure out what exactly we'll get from Black River Design and how that will fold into the work that he's doing.
Well, I think this work is different in that the last time Black River Design was just doing more of a building audit. And this time, like, we're actually looking for specific changes. So, we'll see how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But Larry is working on it now.
awesome. Okay.
And what I wanted to make sure that we touched upon, which is on the wildly important goals. And so we have an adult team, a lighthouse team, trying to really work at creating an environment in a school that is the place where people want to come to work, where students want to be. So our lighthouse team in August decided, we were looking at the data that we got from the MRI in the spring, from what students were saying. And what we noticed was the supportive student environment was on the lower end, still not extremely low, but when we looked at it compared to some of the other categories, the supportive student environment was on the lower end. Right now, it was a 73, so our goal was to go as a score of a 73 to 77. And I thought it would be important, because the first question that I had as we were looking through this, or what types of questions kind of would get you to that score of a 73, so I gave 3 examples on the right-hand side. So some were like yes or no, true or false type questions. I can be myself around my teachers, my teacher understands me as a person, and then can you be yourself at school? So those were not all of the questions that led to that 73, but I thought it would be important to highlight what some of those would be. So what we're going to do about it, our lighthouse team decided, as a whole staff, every day we are going to spend time building relationships with students and being really intentional about it. That can look like so many different things, but it can look like closing circles, morning meetings for those younger grades, advisories for those older grades, but spending time that is already built within the schedule for staff to talk and get to know our kids and have genuine, wholehearted conversations with them So they're building those positive relationships so students can feel like they can go to the grown-ups here at school and be their true self. The other thing we're going to do is every single adult is greeting students, and especially as our new students, as we get to know them, greeting students by name, very intentionally, every single day. Every single day, how important it is to be standing in the hallways or standing outside of your classroom door, saying good morning to every single kid that comes in. It sounds so small, right? It sounds so small.
It's made me realize what's missing
Right.
from my job.
We need greeters.
Right?
We need greeters.
It sounds so small, but it's going to
Yeah.
make such a large
is.
impact. A
It
home
is.
office, yeah, hard.
Yeah.
I will say
Way
there's
to
certain
Barbies. Good
kids,
morning.
and Hannah, your son may or may not be one of them, that I get the greatest joy of every single day. That I get this huge hug from him every time. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
he's not waiting for initiatives to be noticed.
Right.
He'll
He's just
notice
doing it.
himself. So, but I'm glad for the kids that may not feel so
Yeah.
freewheeling with their hugs. that
Yes.
They'll get a shout out.
So if you come in the morning, you'll see there's people greeting myself and others as parents drop off, as kids come in, but not just there, in the cafeteria when they're eating breakfast, in the hallways as they're walking down the hallway. So every single area and section of the school is represented by some adult. So a kid might get greeted by like 7 adults in the morning, but that's great, right?
Mhm.
That's wonderful.
That's so cool.
Just out of curiosity, are we teaching, so in my classroom, I like, as I read, like I do my attendance, I'm always like, good morning, blah, 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 and I literally force them to say, good morning, Miss Veneta, and I do the entire, just so that we can like get the idea that like when someone says hi to you, or good morning or something, like you say it back. So is that part of the greeting as well, is to be like,
I think it depends on the area of the school. Like, so I can speak for myself. Like, sometimes there's buses full of kids,
Yes.
right? So then there's like tons of kids. It's
Yeah.
like, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yeah.
It is also happening explicitly within the classrooms as well. So it may not necessarily happen
Okay.
at every single moment, but it is
Mhm.
happening.
so,
I also feel like if you put too much of like a manner spin on it, then they kind of, maybe their true self is like at 7 a.m. and
Yeah.
maybe that's okay.
Maybe they just got up.
Yeah.
There was a kiddo that came in this morning, and he had definitely just gotten out of bed. I'm like, oh my goodness, you just got out of bed this morning? And he was like, yep, I did. You know, it's like, I'm here. That's a win. I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's what we're
I really
doing.
like that idea.
That's
Yeah.
and that's the culture goal. The academic goals will come after they
Yeah.
take the STAR assessment in October.
Okay.
Waiting
Yep.
for that information to set
Nice.
goals.
Well, I think the culture goals
It's important. It's the most important.
so important
Huge.
right now.
Yeah.
if they wanna be
Kids
here,
notice.
they'll,
Yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
remember.
I mean, I just had a student yesterday, not yesterday, Friday, I guess, that I greeted them in the hallway and, you know my name? Because I'm in 3 different schools. Of course I know your name, like, that's, try.
It's hard, but yeah.
It's you. Like, he was like shocked.
That's really
Right, and they feel seen, which is
Yeah.
huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's really important.
A Woods update. So I just wanted to include that it's been a little tricky for them
Yeah.
because of a lot of the rain, but they are working on it. And the goal, I'm trying to remember that by late September they'll be getting started on some of the tasks that are below, clearing the path, staking the trail with elevations and benchmarks, planning the boardwalk, bench cutting. Then the hope is that for the grant, the task completion date is December 31st of 2024. So we're a little ways out. They did get delayed, but loosely we are still on track, which is great.
How did the woods weather the weather? Like, did we end up with any erosion down the embankments or anything, or?
I don't know. I'd have to go take a walk down there.
Just curious.
I wonder if Timber and Stone might be able to, as they do some of their
Yeah, or if Lauren hasn't said
Mhm.
anything, hopefully.
The lean-to is
work. Is gone.
Yeah,
The
I mean-
lean-to is gone.
Yeah.
Is that just raw, like, it's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are those planning on, are the lean-tos planning on getting rebuilt to be like more permanent structures? Are we allowed to do that?
No, we're not allowed to do that at this time.
How do we try to ask again? if
We
we
should
can?
ask
And we
again.
should ask again because
Oh, because
should
there's
ask
been a
structure's
change.
changed a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, so I
Might
feel
be-
like
So
might
maybe
possible.
worth an ask.
it might
Yeah.
be asked for like, 10 lean-tos out there for 10 classrooms.
Mhm.
Get them outside.
It might be. It is definitely worth an ask.
how do you, like, what number of teachers do you think your classrooms are actually using that are classrooms on a regular basis?
On day 5, 4.
Yeah, but I mean,
In
like,
general?
but it is in their plan, like, I just know I've talked to a lot of the teachers in my district, and they're like, we're heading out Tuesday, what are we doing, like, they're like, they see what their plan is for getting out and doing, or using their outdoor space.
Definitely our youngers. I know our middle school staff has expressed, just because of the location of where theirs is, it's not ideal. The middle school staff have expressed wanting a place where they could also go. So it could be great potentially to utilize some of that for middle level as well. Theirs is just out, or kind of designated area, so to speak, is just out quite a ways where, because of, they switch classes every 45 or so minutes, it gets tricky if they wanted to just take one class up with them, because they'd get out there and essentially have to almost turn back around. But I think if we were to be able to add more lean-tos and other places down there, that it would be utilized even more.
And I would encourage, I mean, what we tend to do, the kids just build stuff. They're more temporary, but there's many tarps hanging in trees and all kinds of lashings and things like that. And it looks a little bit like a Hobo Village at times, but it's theirs. They constructed it, so it's a little bit different.
And Nikki, I don't know if you wanted something different, so this is what I included kind of in the budget, but if you want to talk about something different after, I'd be happy to do that too.
No, I was just thinking big picture, like what are
Okay.
we thinking for changes?
Perfect. I have one in mind that I wanted to ask you all if you would be okay with. I would love to explore the idea of upgrading our playground.
Yes.
Chris, and he has worked within the district as well, and if you know the Floodbrook Playground, he's part of the company that designed that Floodbrook Playground, and it is top notch. Top notch.
Where's the Floodbrook?
In Londonderry,
Okay.
it's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
yes.
it's really fantastic.
Yeah.
So what I would love to do with your okay is have him come to the October meeting and just talk with you all.
Great.
He came up in the spring and he estimated our playground was approximately 25 years old. I asked John Samuel and some of the other employees that have been here quite a long time. They felt like that was the same, if not maybe even a few years older than 25, because they really couldn't recall. They couldn't recall the last time that it was done.
I remember wasn't there some like boat structure at some point? Does anybody remember the boat?
That was at the rec center.
No, there was a boat out here.
Oh, there was a boat here.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, I don't know.
He did want to make sure, and I wanted to make sure to reiterate to you all, this playground structure is not unsafe by any means. He made sure to look at it as not unsafe, but what he did say was that there's definitely signs of shifting within the playground structure itself. It is still safe for people to play on, but I do think it's really important for us to consider making this a really wonderful community space, not only for the students here during the day, but for families. And Chris, from Old T Parks and Playgrounds, has some really cool ideas to not only have this accessible for all kids, because right now there are some kids in our population that our playground is not accessible to at all, but also as a place where families could have a picnic dinner and take a walk at the same time as their kids are playing in the playground. So I have a vision of like a super wonderful, cool idea that I think could be great. So I'll have, if you all are okay with it, I'll have Chris come in October and just chat with you all about what we're thinking.
Sounds good.
Okay. And Angie, do you want me to click on this website? This one is all you.
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right.
And I would say that playground is definitely 25 years old, if not older. I sort of remember the fundraising for it.
Oh, really? Oh. All
Mhm.
right, let me just share the other screen.
And I do think there was a boat on there, like the one that used to be, like the one that was at the playground at the rec. I remember.
My older sister says some type of giant wood structure that had to be taken down because it was treated with chemicals.
Yeah. Oh, that's what Shannon was
they were
talking
everywhere.
about. We were talking to
Was it not a
Shannon
boat?
Kramer earlier, and she goes, she remembered some sort of like a smaller shed
Wooden
thing, but then she said
situation.
something wooden, but she didn't say exactly what it was.
Metal slides.
And a metal, she remembered a metal slide,
Yeah,
a giant
that was
metal
like- it was
slide.
like there.
Tires, like making things like everything.
Yeah. All right, that's my only contribution. You guys sure you don't want me on the building committee? Willing.
25 years ago was a long time.
Like boat, wood, I don't know.
Plus enough.
Tires. I can text my sister.
All right,
So,
Andy. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, thanks. I'm gonna ask you to scroll down in a bit, Lindsay. So, I'm here tonight because I wanted to bring the board's awareness to this page that is not live yet on our supervisory union website, but it will be probably in October. And it is regarding reporting hazing, harassment, and bullying, which or otherwise known as HHB. Employee harassment and Title IX sexual harassment. You can report it even if you aren't sure if the behavior meets the definition. It is up to who views the form to determine whether or not the behavior is possibly meeting the definition, and then to establish the process to investigate and make a final determination. So, Lindsay, if you'll scroll up a little bit, I just wanted to show you the sections so you can go to the reporting form right from the top. Of course, there's other ways to report, and in person is always the best way to report. That's not always possible. If you view something and we want to know about it and you're not exactly sure who the people are, the form will help you do that. And then you can also report it to an employee at the school. We have not trained our employees yet. That will be part of the process to bring them up to speed on this form and how they could use it to report. And then you can always call or email. And if you further down in the form, you will see the designated employees. This section right here just links to our policies on the board's website and defines a little bit about the process. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you have the list of all the designated employees. And you click that down arrow and it will show you to whom you can report. Of course, also at the very bottom of the list is my contact information, and I am also a person that you can reach out to if you had questions regarding the policy or the form. That is all I have for you tonight.
It's just to bring the board up to
Yeah.
speed.
And Angie, just something that I'll add here, myself, Alina, Alyssa, and Laura, who are listed as the designated employees, all four of us have gone through, Alina and I have gone through, our lawyer through VIII does trainings for school employees on hazing, harassment, bullying, as well as Title IX. Alina and I have done both, the trainings for HHB as well as Title IX. Alyssa has done both as well, and Laura, I believe, has only done the HHB, but there are opportunities through the year to train on Title IX.
I'm trying to create a system. Sometimes it's not the best to have the closest to the party
Yeah.
doing the investigation.
Yeah.
So it's trying to figure out how to create the system. So
Yeah.
Angie worked on that this summer. She's going to figure
And
it out.
we've been concerned that there might be, if people are out observing something, they might see something and think that didn't look right and not really know how to report it. So we're hoping that this tool will help us to squash anything that's happening.
Great.
Thank you.
It's live.
Okay.
Roll it out to, it'll be live to the community as well, so.
And just a couple upcoming events this Thursday. We are starting a coffee with the principal. We'll do it once a month, the first Thursday of every month, starting at 8:15. It'll be a variety of different topics. This first month, we're just starting with getting to know some of the people on the staff, and just wanting some feedback from families to see what did they want from some of these events, because we can tailor the coffee with the principal for what families want and need.
Yeah.
And our back to school community dinner is the 21st at 5.
Did the form go out for people to sign up?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, I'm up. There we go. Next, all right.
Okay.
My report is linked, linked there, you have it. I'm just gonna go over a few of the highlights, and Lindsay's gonna be my scroller.
Yep. Do you want me to click on it or just go to the
No,
next slide?
just go to the next slide. So I just wanted to let you know, if you looked at the newsletter on Friday, you saw a Google form in the newsletter on this draft mission statement that was created over the course of last year. So our consultant, Mike Nicholson, who helped us with our strategic plan and our competencies, came back to work with the group to look at those documents to flesh out a clear and compelling vision statement, which we didn't have prior. So he worked all year with a group, some staff, some administrators, there were some board members. And he worked with the student group too, but not on this specifically. So this is what the group came up with for the vision statement, and it's gone out on a Google form for feedback from parents in the community. We don't have to talk about it tonight, but I hope you'll engage in that feedback form. On the next slide are the mission statements. This is what we do here. This is what we want every student to experience. So it's just a plug for please go in and give us some feedback on that. You heard Lindsay. I just want to make sure everybody's clear. We did roll out a plan for cell phone procedures, which interestingly enough, many schools in our area have done the same thing, which is great.
This
Yeah.
year,
So
like
what's happening in
everybody's-
high school?
everybody's doing
And
it.
they did it.
Yeah, so K-8, no phones are to be in use, or personal devices like Apple Watches. We are not allowing kids to wear earbuds during the day either because, well, unless they have a cord, because kids are
Yeah.
connected and doing things. And so parents have been super supportive. We've had a few incidents, but we are holding the line because if we don't, we're gonna be in trouble. 9th through 12th graders at this point get to use their cell phones during lunch. That really came out of our Mount Escutney student board rep who really was pretty convincing that they need to practice being adults and going into the workforce. So we heard him, and that's true. So they get to use their phones during lunch. I believe the seniors are petitioning to be able to use their phones as a senior privilege when they are in their senior privilege area in the school. So, but so far so good. So thanks to everyone.
What
who's
about smartwatches for 9 through 12? Because I imagine there's a lot of them at that age group.
You know, middle school has asked the most. They asked if they could have the children, students, young adults, keep their watches with their phones in their backpacks.
Okay.
And I said, that sounds reasonable to me. So, but I haven't heard from high school. I'll ask Kate about that,
Okay.
how that's going.
I'm just wondering because there are a lot of kids that know that have
Yeah,
smartwatches.
yeah. So, there are kids that they're pretty savvy, I have to tell you. They can connect to video games at their homes through their devices at school, so we have to be.
I wanted to take a step back
Yeah.
for the vision.
Yeah.
This one? Yeah. And I just wanted to say that this, to me, is so exciting because it feels like,
Yeah.
4 years later, it's
Finally coming to fruition.
coming together. It's all happening.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting.
And we talked, Angie and I talked, she did, part of the strategic plan says that we will create a learning framework, which Angie has done, and this will become part of that.
Nice.
Yeah, so we are really implementing the strategic plan.
Yeah.
Okay, last thing on my list, which is we're very excited about, the administrative team has partnered with the University of Washington Center for Educational Leadership. We're doing Leading Equitable Schools work, which feels like it's the next step for us in the diversity, equity, and inclusion work. I'll just read you, we just started, we had one training, but the goals of that the participants will develop over the course of the year, new ways to privilege student, parent, and community voices regarding the experiences they have and want to have in school, which I think is very important. Draft visions of equitable student experiences, learning opportunities, teaching practices, and teacher learning experiences that address the needs of all learners, and particularly those students furthest from justice. A shared understanding of why building teacher collective efficacy can lead to more equitable school practices. And the last one is a deeper reflective practice that emphasizes self-awareness and identification of biases, privilege, and power dynamics. So we're all doing this together. Tracy's on board as well, Angie, Katie, Brittany, Patty, the whole CIA team. So we had our first online training, and our homework was to identify a group of students furthest from justice, and we are all tasked with meeting with a group of students that we identify. And there's, what's it called, the story, we're gonna hear their stories, and we're gonna bring back the information, and I'll let you know what happens after that. So we have eight days with them here in person. They'll be here 2 days at a time. One day will be training, and then one day will be in the schools with students. So we're excited about that, and I wanted to share that with you. And that will be
The group being some like predefined demographic group, or just like a
it can
random
be
sampling from the school.
We're gonna look at our data
Mm-hmm.
to choose our students that we
Okay.
talk to first.
Mm-hmm.
So I have an appointment with Brittany, the data lady, so we can look at that data and figure out who we need to hear from first.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a diverse group, definitely. And it will be fascinating, because if you sit down with students and you just start talking, you learn a lot. So we'll be reporting on that throughout the year, but I wanted to share that with you. And that's the end for me.
That's the end of
Yep.
of the
So
administrative
let's go back to the beginning of the administrative report.
Yes.
Did I stop sharing?
You did stop
She
sharing.
did, okay.
You were highlighting this.
I have a question. What time does the meeting start?
At
Oh,
6, if that's
Okay, I was so confused because I got in different minors, so I was emailing with Lori Brown, and I was like, "What time does it start?" She said 6:30.
She made mistakes.
only
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, I was like
Right,
so
the other ones
confused
do.
because I was like,
It's okay,
We're just glad you're here.
yeah.
You know what? They told me 6 for my first meeting, and I still came at 6:30.
okay, I was just like, I don't want to be late, but I was like,
And
wait.
Lori's
And I came
defense,
virtually at 6:30.
we're the only meeting that starts at 6.
Yeah, everyone else.
Everyone else
okay.
starts at 6:30,
Okay, that makes
so,
sense.
but I wanna get out of here.
Yeah, we get tired. This group gets tired by.
This is an early.
Sunset's early in Hartland.
Yeah, exactly.
Only in Hartland.
Only in
right.
Hartland.
It's an isolated sunset.
Apparently the other communities can stay up later, but after 8 o'clock, there's nothing
We
left.
turn into pumpkins.
Yes. So, well, Wes,
So-
we're excited that you're here.
Yay, thank you. I'm
yeah.
excited to be here.
Awesome. And do you know everybody?
Ah.
Okay, let's go there.
Yeah.
Beth, let's start with you.
Sure, Beth from Norway. Anything
Hi.
else you wanna know?
Can you
Like
tell
what?
her your children?
Yeah.
I was gonna say you're Samara.
Yes,
Yeah.
Samara and Silas's mom. Samara's the 7th and Silas is 10th.
And Beth brings a outdoor focus and
Yeah, I'm an outdoor educator, so
Oh.
I farm to school and stuff.
farm to
Nice.
school. I think that's kind of good to,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you bring everything, but I
bring
think that we look at you when we're having those discussions, so.
Next.
Yeah.
I'm Heather Veneta, and
Hi.
my 2 children are Ruby, who's in fourth grade here, and Russell, who's in first. And I am a high school math teacher at Woodstock
nice.
Union High School. So I hopefully bring something to the table. I
Yeah.
don't know what yet.
You bring the teacher perspective.
I bring the teacher perspective. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm Colleen Spence, and my kids are in high school, Alec and Nicola. I think you know them.
I know Al, yeah.
From church
Yep.
stuff. And I bring, my parenthood and some data analysis.
That's a good summary.
You're really good at spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And sometimes
So
she
all
brings
day long.
snacks too. She kind of didn't go with pepperoni today, but whatever. It's not like I was counting on it or anything.
And I think you know me, but you're welcome to ask any question.
Yeah, I think I know you.
Yeah. And I think I've been on the board since Trevor was in first grade.
Oh.
So I think I've been chair of the board since he was in like second or third grade.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So it's been a while. I don't know what I bring anymore.
You
bring
I bring knowledge.
experience,
Exactly.
Engineering skills.
Yeah. And I'm a civil
The
engineer.
ability to
So
say, be able to say yes to everything.
yeah, I'm working on that.
I'm Hannah Ben Simone. I have a first grader named Theo.
Alright.
I went to Hartland
Hmm.
Elementary School. back when there was maybe a boat on the playground.
You missed that discussion.
And I'm a cardiologist at Dartmouth. So I don't actually add anything professionally, but I have spent a lot of time thinking about this
Humor.
building.
Humor.
So, yeah, jokes. I'm here for the jokes.
I mean, you probably
Yeah,
have all of us have been in the building
If
the
anyone
longest.
cardiac arrests, I gotcha. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have any of that. It's cool.
And Hannah's following in her dad's footsteps in the board role.
Oh, I did just text about the building committee. My father has learned to say no.
Yes, he does. He doesn't
Yeah.
want to do it?
He actually said NFW.
Oh.
Just the initials. He did not swear. Or no, he does not want to join the building committee. My dad was on the school board when they got the budget passed for this building.
Like his name's on
So
the
I
plaque
feel
out
like
front.
it's about time for him to resurface.
Resurface, right. You're back.
We'll work on it.
I thought you were gonna say he paid his dues already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. Yeah, we've tried hitting him up a couple.
Well, in fact, when you asked if I would join, he was able to
He
say
said
no
no.
on my behalf.
Yeah.
So do not ask her; she's too busy.
And then Sarah Stewart Taylor asked Hannah directly, and I was like, "Oh, I already got a hard no on that one." Nice. We got her.
Yeah.
So awesome. And Lindsay, I don't know, like maybe you could give us a refresh of the student's role. Like, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be formal. You can
That's
just-
fine. Here, West and I went over, it's just gonna take me a second to pull it up. Because then I can just share this. My computer is cooperating. Here we go. Okay.
Binder, but.
Here it is. So what West and I went over were largely these responsibilities, which is pretty small up there.
If I could reach
Oh, wait.
View.
See, there we go.
Oh,
Maybe this.
there we
way.
go. Can you
There
change
we
that?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we
Okay.
go. That they will be attend all board meetings, and I did let Wes know that it's also okay to attend virtually as well.
Yes.
You know, if your schedule does
sure.
not allow for you to be here, then that's okay.
And I will make sure to be on time from now on.
You're okay.
I'll razz Lori Brown a little bit the next time I see her.
I kind of assumed that you were recovering from soccer practice. So.
Well, yeah, I
that
went
was brutal.
home, took a speed shower, ate speed dinner, and then rushed here. So
So that's fine. You're good.
Yeah. that her participation is very valued. And I said, you know, I can't speak completely for the board, but I do very strongly believe that they want your opinions on all the things, because it's your opinion, your voice is very important. That she cannot serve in a voting capacity, but your vote by a show of hands you can do, but in terms of what gets counted, your number will not be, just the board's. That the primary role is to represent the views of the student body pertaining to agenda items and discussions here with the board. That you should encourage, and you already started the other day, was, you know, if you all need anything, come let me know. To watch the school board meetings is really important. That
Highly entertaining.
it can be, right? It can be.
Maybe get your social studies teacher to play one in
Miss
class.
Fesco, maybe, yep.
Oh, there we go.
That it is important to maintain confidentiality as well as the other norms. That we talked about the documents that are more confidential in nature that West would not have access to as a student rep on the board, and that she would not participate in the executive sessions. And that we, the board, that West would adhere to the board policies, bylaws, regulations, including the board code of ethics, and that's, you know, what we run by on a normal basis. That, it kind of says it up above, but does not count whether a quorum exists. So there's 5 board reps, we need 3 to have a quorum. So if there's 2 and you, we would still need that 3rd board member to have quorum. And we talked a little bit about negotiations. That I had said to Wes that this was a negotiation year, that she wouldn't be able to be a part of those negotiations. But we did talk a little bit about negotiations, and I gave her the example that, you know, the teacher workday is 7:45 to 3:15. So Alina and myself can't ask teachers to be somewhere that they have to be at before 7:45, and we can't ask them to stay required to stay later than 3:15. There's many other things within it, but that's one of the more concrete examples that's in there.
And the contract is on the website if you're curious.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Yep.
And that was it.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
That was good. More formal than I was expecting.
We're glad to have you.
We are very
Thank
glad
you.
to have you.
Glad to be here.
And I'll just note, like, from a board standpoint, well, I guess I'll say this from my own personal standpoint, I try to be prepared for the meetings in that, you know, the agenda, we have to all vote on the previous minutes, so reading the previous minutes. If there's something big that's gonna come up beforehand, doing that. But then I also try when I'm in the board meeting to be present because Lindsay, Christine, and Alana do all the work for us. Like that's, if that makes sense. And we're here to think and present ideas and process information. And so I just float that out there too. Like don't feel like you need to be working or pulling up the stuff that you talked about earlier or those kinds of things. That's what these guys do for us, and they do very well for us, so that we can sit here and process and absorb and comment and provide feedback.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got plenty of those.
So, awesome. Well, we're really excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Is there a spot where we can like add a number and it can be like, you know, West's student report? And maybe get West to do a little report, whether it is, you know, verbal or attached to your administrative
Could be a
report?
slider to attach
Yep.
to mine, so it doesn't.
About like what's going on at school or issues that are being brought up or things like that. I'm like talking through Lena's voice.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay, it's okay. So,
Okay, give it
I'd like
telephone.
to maybe put that under, or at some point, talk about adding that
When we
to
set
the
the
agenda.
agenda.
What?
Maybe we can,
When we set the agenda
Agenda.
for next time.
Yeah, I like having it as part of the administrative report, because it also takes some of the pressure off if there's like not something big happening that month, you don't, like, we wanna know when there's things happening, but we also don't wanna put you on the spot
Yeah,
of
we don't have to
having
make
to,
stuff up.
yeah, so, I don't, okay. So I think we can check that off, so the only thing that's left on the items for discussion, is the SU nurse health position idea. And this, I will introduce it.
Financials, what is
Financials is next month.
Oh.
I think that was Lori's way of putting the
Oh.
pre-budget conversation.
No, I actually took the, I took financials as the playground
Okay.
update,
Okay.
sorry, that's
And
why I
Larry-
checked it off.
All right.
Larry will also have for the board next month,
The
a
quarterly.
quarterly
The quarterly.
update.
Yeah, no, I thought we were, like, financials was just like big.
Big things.
We have our first meeting scheduled
The
for
SU budget
the
meeting.
15th
Of September.
of this, Friday
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, so, I mean, okay, going back to financials from now until January, hopefully not every time, but, if you have changes, like the next month or two, if you have changes that need to be implemented, that's kind of the big idea that we want.
Yep.
And then we'll start to flush out the actual budget stuff. Okay, back to the SU nurse health position idea, was an idea from one of the SU nurses, that was floated to Christine and presented at the SU meeting. And out of the SU meeting, we decided that we were going to bring that discussion to every local meeting, and that is as much of the introduction as you're gonna get from me.
Yeah, well, there's two things on here. One is the SU nurse.
Right.
And that, I think, makes sense. I mean, there's
It's
a
just
lot
like
of, there's,
taking food service.
yeah, like food service, technology, so there's collaboration, there's sharing of resources, so getting better, pricing on health-related items. There's also like that, and we're pretty good about this either way, but you know, that consistent message across the SU from the nurses. I think we do have a new nurse that worked under a system that had that structure in place, without having to do anything because they're a single district. So it was already in place, and I've been trying to explain to her how it's different here because the nurses are local and they're paid in the local budgets, but that doesn't mean we can't, talk about it and make a decision. I think according to Katie, who's our new nurse at Windsor, who came from Woodstock, she has brought she has brought this up with all the nurses, and she started a document of pros and cons, and they're happy to come and talk in October if you'd like, or she's happy to come.
So that was one of my questions, is do the nurses know that we're talking about this?
They do, well, I don't know if they know we're talking about it. I touched base with Katie and Annette, and Katie said they brought it up at their nurse meeting, she brought it up at the nurse meeting, they seemed to be okay with it, so, she was gonna follow up with them.
How many nurses do we have total?
We have, one full-time in each building, and then Windsor has, a second LNA to help.
And this wouldn't change staffing within the building, it would just
It wouldn't.
change, and it wouldn't change payment structure.
Nope, it would change where the funding is, it would be in the SU budget.
So the funding for their
Yep.
salaries in addition to funding for any sort of like
Yep.
health
So it would come out of the
office
local
related.
budget.
Got it.
Reduce the local budget, increase the SU budget.
Got it, okay.
And
Depending on the per pupil cost, right, like we could be paying more or less.
yeah, I mean, we'd have to figure out the formula, right?
Right.
Like we do with food. And, the other thing, that Katie asked was, in that model, well, she floated, in that model, sometimes there's a lead nurse that other nurses can go to, and it would, like, we'd have to figure out who supervises. Now it's the building principals that supervise the nurses. I'm assuming that what we do with special ed would probably be, similar, it's a joint, structure where it's the director of special ed, student support services, and the building principals co-manage support staff and special educators in the building, so we'd have to figure that out, but, so that was part of the discussion tonight. And then the other piece was the health position, and that was, an ask from the Weathersfield board meeting, asked if we would bring that to the SU board for discussion, because they're trying to hire a part-time health teacher and they've not been able to. So I know that Weathersfield does not have a health teacher. Windsor does not have a health teacher in the elementary or the high school. So we've tried for 2 years to get a high school, at least a high school health teacher, and we have not had applicants. In the model at the AOE, when you become certified for PE now, you get your health certification. So Hartland happens to have 2 PE teachers that are health certified. And so the students here get a little bit of help, but it's not nearly what they should be getting, because they're also teaching PE, which is 2 days a week requirement for every student. So the ask was, does it make sense to have an SU-wide health teacher, or I think the conversation went integrator, somebody that's kind of making sure that kids are getting the health curriculum, and it may not be delivered by a health teacher per se, it may be delivered by the math teacher or the science teacher, depending on the topic. So those were 2 things that were brought up at the SU meeting, and I'm gonna bring back some thoughts from all the boards.
It seems like it could be part of science or math, but I wonder how it's gotten broken out. I'm guessing it's too much for the year, like, adding it into somebody to math or science is not
Ideal.
ideal.
I mean, parts of it, sure, because in
Yeah.
science, you're gonna be learning about things that pertain to health in some of the units you're doing.
Yes.
So it fits there, but it would have to be mapped out to ensure that kids are getting the full
That all the nutrition
continuum,
and all that
and where that
stuff.
happens and who's teaching it.
And also, I do think, I think health is broader than just science, and I worry about kids missing exposure to that as a designated subject, just in the ways that they can capture some of the psychosocial implications of health, mental health stuff. So that actually is, I think, I would definitely support a position that would make sure the kids in the district were getting it. Like, if there's that many gaps in it, the nursing question I feel a little less strongly about. I just need to learn more about what the nurses, I can imagine that pooling resources makes sense. Like, if there are things that we're able to do at a district level, then from a health delivery perspective, that would be great. But I just want to learn more about that from the nurses, and but I would be strongly in favor of doing something to make sure district-wide kids are getting more health education, because I worry about relegating it to science class, that it just will be, just biology, and it's obviously
few more things than
Oh, more than that, yeah.
And I'm a little concerned too in the sense of like if this person's supposed to be like coordinating health across this vast array of things, I mean, they're not those people's bosses. So it's not like they can say, you need to do this. They can say, could you please teach this, or can I help you teach this? And so you kind of have this weird dynamic that you don't really, that kind of sets
It
that
doesn't
person up for
guarantee
really
that
getting
it's-
nothing done.
Yeah.
Potentially.
From experience?
Perhaps.
You sound like you know what you're talking about.
Zero power.
But you can also appreciate teachers saying, okay, what do you want me to not teach then? Like,
Yeah.
what do you want me to take out?
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not like anybody's not
Exactly.
teaching all the time, so
Yeah.
it's not, it is
Yeah,
a
it's not like
zero-sum
they're
game,
just hanging out.
unfortunately, so, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My thoughts, Christine, on the SU nurse is that it's really, really important. Like, coming from what Katie did for our district, like, just the fact that we had somebody who, like, built and got all the nurses to be all on the same page, and like everyone was saying the same thing, every policy was the same, so it didn't matter what school you went to, everyone was following the thing, and like resources pooled, just really, it's super important. And I'm confused as why we're calling it, like, I didn't think we called it health anymore, I thought we called it wellness. So like at our high school, we have a wellness teacher, and our wellness teacher teaches health and PE, like the same
It's
thing.
wellness.
Yep, it's wellness. And she teaches everything from like how to do archery to like every health thing, and it's amazing.
Is that in high school, did you say?
That's in
Yeah.
our high school, but we have it in 7th and 8th grade too. We have a wellness teacher who again does the same exact thing. So maybe the word we want to look for instead of a health position is a wellness teacher. And
Yeah.
like if you want to look at like Woodstock's model, I think it's great, and it's sort of like the way that it appears how health and PE are going is to combine it into wellness. You might
So
have
do
more
they
luck.
have gym time in one day and then
So it is,
classroom
you
time?
take, so like every 9th grader
Mhm.
has wellness. The same amount of time they have math, the same amount of time they have English, everything. It's just like one of their classes for a full year. And so like in a week period, they may do like 2 things outside, like they may do 2 like outdoor activities or indoor activities, whatever. And then, maybe do 2 things inside, or maybe like they have a unit on, like they do mountain biking, and they do like 2 weeks worth of mountain biking, where they learn how to mountain bike and they go mountain biking. And then like they'll do like 2 weeks on, drugs and alcohol, things like that. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah,
So
and we have that here. It's, it's a new certification, so not all our PE teachers
yeah.
have that at this point.
But
So
would
it sounds like
would it
there'd
help
be increased
recruitment
staffing.
if you were recruiting for somebody that could do both PE
Yeah,
and health?
I would
'Cause
think
they-
so.
I think wellness
Wellness
is something
is
you
a
might
great
want to look
word,
into.
Yeah.
But I think it sounds like though we would require increased staffing, because right now every kid just gets 2 days of PE.
They
And
get-
and
get 2?
health is kind of
They have
wrapped
to
in
have
that.
two. Yeah, it says
Yeah.
under
Certain time of the day.
So it's not like 5 days a week, like what?
No,
Heather's saying,
it
so
was
it's-
like, I mean, from doing the schedule, I don't know what it is currently, but it was like every kid would get 2 days a week of PE and maybe 1 day a week of health.
That's
Or
what it
every
said.
other week of health, because we combined SEL and health, which is the wellness piece. So if you have a dual certified staff member, it's great. It's
You can,
doable.
Castleton has a really great program.
Yes.
So,
No, that's
West,
great
did you have
feedback.
something you wanted to add?
Oh yeah, I'm not sure if I'm getting this right because I'm still catching up. But the other thing about the health is that, especially in 8th grade, health is also like we had one health class, and it turned a lot into talking about different high schools. So then that's also it's like something we have to talk about.
'Cause it
But
was-
that's like the only time we can do it. But that also takes away from health. So I don't
That was during SEL,
yeah.
which is the school counselor, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Good point.
So it's like even less time to work this.
Yeah.
Are the high school PE requirements different? Is it 2 days a week
Yeah.
all the way
The
through, or
sports
they?
count.
Sports count, yeah.
Oh,
There's
right.
different- there's
So
different
that's how
needs
you
now.
can get away with
But
different.
But not if not if a district requires, like, our district requires that you have to take wellness your 9th grade year.
Right, but that's,
Yeah.
that's high school.
Yes.
Yeah, high school's different.
Yeah,
I forgot what I was gonna say.
yeah.
But-
I do really like the idea of, as an SU, and even in, I mean, so from what I got out of the SU meeting, Hartland is the best positioned from a health standpoint. And what I experienced as a parent is that we're not rocking it.
Right.
And we are doing the best out of all the schools. And so I do really support, help, like, I think that we need a broader picture. And I don't know how that would look. I mean, there's the standpoint from the SU level that Hartland already has 2 people that can teach health in the building, and we might get neglected if we hire a broader person, because they're putting out fires at the other 3 schools that don't have anything. But I would like, I think we need more.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, just from somebody that works across 3 schools, currently,
Yeah.
really map out, like, how much time would each school really be getting, like, how much time per child, like, you end up with, like, each kid gets 10 minutes of that person's time for the year, you know, like, it ends up being really small. And so
Yeah.
just think about what's the level of impact versus the level of staffing, because it's gonna be,
Yeah.
because if you're really talking one person working across 3 schools, it's pretty,
Yeah, small.
it gets pretty
Yeah.
small pretty quick.
And I don't think that person could be teaching at all
No, I don't
for
think
schools.
so.
I think they'd have to be like setting things up for other people.
Yeah, so more discussion to come.
Yeah, so I think,
But I appreciate your feedback and comments, it's great. And we'll see where we land.
Bring the wellness.
I mean, it does, through an equity lens, right, it makes sense.
I mean,
it does.
Yeah.
teaching wellness to me is, I'm gonna say this, it's more important than math. Like, I know.
Came out of the
I know.
picture.
Well, in our high school, like, one of your core classes, wellness is one of your core classes. Math isn't. And that's okay, because, kids still have to take math, but
Right.
You can't do math if
But-
you're not well.
you can't do anything if you're not well. And like, putting kids out into the world, like, if we want them to be good humans, like, they've gotta have a really good understanding of like how this all works and how it all works. Because, there's just like a lot, like, if you're not a healthy person, you can't do anything well, so.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for that.
Okay, I think that's it. Is there anything else that is a burning topic that we haven't hit? Okay. Okay, so setting the next agenda, we're gonna have a different type of financials update. So we've got Chris from the playground.
Yeah.
We have financials in a more traditional appearance.
The quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly
update. Yep.
And then any additional
And any additional.
pluses and minuses from you guys that we need to be processing.
Are we getting the wigs to come in? Like, is that, for some odd reason, I thought when you put up your slide and you said you had the lighthouse team, like, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm making something up right now. But-
Important goals.
Yes, no, I know, but then you were like, we have this lighthouse team, and I forget what you were saying about
We're
it. and
trying
I
to
did-
increase students'
Yeah,
sense of being.
got it, okay. Was there any, for some odd reason, I feel like there was like something on a slide that made me think that there was like gonna be a follow-up to that.
Well, the
'cause there's
survey
measurement,
of the, so not the wildly important goals, but the survey of the mission statement.
Okay,
There'll be follow-up on that.
no.
Unless you're
And then
thinking
there'll
of
be
the
follow-up on the
academic
Center for
No,
Academic.
No, I mean,
Leadership.
you're saying you want to increase the percentage of that
Yes.
goal, so I think probably, not
Oh,
next
right.
month.
7:30.
No,
We're
will
working on
likely
that.
not be until later this
Yeah.
spring
Okay.
when we do the
Yeah.
MRA next.
Got it, okay.
But we'll bring the academic goals when we set
Okay.
them. I don't think they'll be by the next
Probably
meeting.
not the next
but
month,
follow-up,
maybe
yeah.
November.
I'm gonna put a Woods update on there because I think there might be an update.
Get them lean-tos going. Is someone gonna talk to someone about lean-tos? Like,
Oh,
You should reach out to the town
To the interim
manager.
town manager?
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
And,
Has
is
he
there any
voted
update
to
on
be
the placement of a town manager?
permanent town manager?
I have not heard.
He's just
have the
I
acting
know that,
select
I think he's just like the actor.
Yeah.
Tom Yanneral is the one leading the search.
The Heron guy,
Yeah,
maybe?
he's
So
from.
they've started a
I
search.
think they've started, there's been posted, and I think application deadline has happened. I don't know how many applicants they've got, but
Manager.
yeah.
Position hires
Yeah.
them. Is he not on it? I don't think so. Well, I don't know.
I couldn't hear.
It
Doesn't
doesn't-
matter,
we-
sorry,
we
we're
were-
having a
we're-
side conversation.
Oh,
We got distracted.
Nikki, what I do think I should add, I was not at the last meeting because we had our open house that night, is I'm happy to bring next month an update on the policing and safety committee.
I was just gonna ask that.
So I'll add that, okay.
Is that part of your report?
I will add it as a part of my report, yeah.
Yeah. We'll still put it as a discussion item, but we'll check it out. Okay, so financials, wood, policing and safety, playground.
Do we need an updated building committee, or we'll just wait to hear as that's formed?
Well, the playground people are coming.
The playground
Yeah.
people are coming, and hopefully by the next meeting, I'll add it to my list, and I'm hoping by the next meeting I have all the employee stakeholders
Got it,
ready.
it's just the community.
I would just really love some community members before we meet.
Okay.
So you got Chris, under items for discussion, Chris from Ulti.
Yep.
Financials, quarterly report, any additional big picture items?
Yep.
Policing and safety, woods update? Did you say building committee or not?
Yep.
Building committee, okay.
I mean, if it,
And we'll
it
put-
may be a really short update, but.
And we'll put, Wes, you'll be
Keep it
in
in front of our minds.
Ms. Perkins' report, okay?
Yeah.
You wanna add something?
Okay.
Good.
That's good. Do we need an executive session? Think we're doing good? Awesome, okay. So, we are good, guys. We're getting good. Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
Heather. Heather moves, Colleen seconds. Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Awesome. I looked at the runtime of the last meeting and I was like, no way, let's see if I can